Now it's my pleasure to introduce Cindy Weaver. Cindy has lived in Netherlands for 13 years. She's the author of the deeply touching and inspiring book, Losing My Breath from Loss to Transformation. Please help me welcome Cindy Weaver.
Native truth. Birthing life from pain. Life is just a little bit enchanting. This season of change and transformation on the mountains is magical. In this moment and these days, I've been feeling joy. I've been feeling this magic weave in and out of my life. This happiness is part of the human experience that we all share. But as I look out tonight at your faces, I know that there is another experience that we all share, another human experience. And that is the experience of pain, of loss, of sorrow, and of grief. And this can happen on a continuum. We have some of our smaller losses, which we deal with in a few steps, handle some emotions and their history. And then we have the larger life events that we know will be with us forever. And we have to integrate them into our life. On October 24th, 2010, on a warm October day, I lost my daughter, Chloe. She was riding her bike with a friend on a country road, and she was struck by a vehicle and killed instantly. The world stopped spinning on that day. It just froze. And then it just started spinning out of control, and I had no idea what to do. I had no container to hold it in. I had no point of reference, no steps, and I wasn't sure who to turn to for my specific loss. So I just walked out into the woods, and I found this place between 3 aspen trees, and I lay down on the earth, my back to the dirt, and I broke, and I cried, and I shattered. I did this again and again. I took Chloe's blanket with me, and I rolled it up, and I held it against me, feeling like I may be able to hold her again. In the spring, when the earth was damp, I would lay it down under me and lay on top of it. If there was a breeze, I laid it over me. Sometimes I wrapped it around me like a shawl. I allowed anything to happen between those 3 trees. Any emotion, any ranting, crying, anger, and silence. I allowed anything to happen between those 3 trees as long as it was true. At this time, I didn't answer the phone. I didn't return texts. I deleted emails. I didn't really answer the door. I did not attend grief groups, although I was told that would be good for me. I didn't attend social events, although I was told that would be distracting for me. I didn't pursue grief therapy. I turned down the voices that told me who to be, what to believe, and how to live. Now, all of these are valuable. But I did not want to go there until I had allowed life to stop. To be in a place where no feeling or experience was off limits. And that is the gift that the woods gave to me. At this time I began writing, pouring out my pain onto the pages of my journal. I answered to no one but myself. These pages allowed me to tell my true story, to feel my own raw, uncensored, unfiltered truth. I began to unlock my heart, to ask questions about life and death, and go on deep explorations. At this time I had 2 goals. One was to survive. and the other one was to hold the hearts of my family in any way that I could. And I failed at both of them from time to time, but I kept going to the woods. I opened my heart as deep as I could. I listened to all the sounds that can be heard in the woods. I watched the plants and the trees and the birds. I felt the air and the warmth of the sun. I laid on the earth and I felt everything that was true for my own life and experience, including moments of peace. I tuned in deeper to what really inspired me, to the things I was truly passionate about. In the center of my pain, I was finding a deeper life purpose. I was birthing joy by aligning myself with my authentic truth. When I crawled out of my reclusiveness and out of the woods and back into the world of humans and back to work, to my routine, I realized that in my grief, a transformation had taken place, a change, a shift. I wouldn't call this transformation healing, and it wasn't the end to tears, but I had found a new way to walk through the world. I was working and living differently, establishing new priorities for my life. I created fierce boundaries. I allowed people into my life that gave me life, and those that didn't, I just didn't spend much time with. I suspended the word should. I scanned the activities that I had been showing up at, and I realized how many of them I attended for someone else's happiness. It was really common for me to accept an invitation, drive to the event, pull into my parking place, sit, feel, turn on my car, and drive away. I was sitting on 6 committees when I returned to work. I looked at them carefully and I realized that only 2 lit me up. I stepped down from 4. In the past, I had been a portrait artist. I loved drawing faces, but I couldn't get my work to the level of perfection that I wanted. I couldn't get the emotion into the faces I was creating, so I quit. But now, in my season of grief and transformation, I began drawing and painting again. But this time it was different. My art came out as more whimsical in style and mystical. I drew what I was experiencing and feeling in the same raw style as I had been doing writing in my journal. I was telling my truth through my art. In the fall, when I only felt pain with the coming anniversary of Chloe's death, and I couldn't find the beauty of the season, I drew myself into an aspen grove, and I wrote all over the painting every truth I was experiencing. I drew warriors because I needed courage. I painted characters of light against a dark sky. And when I was in the grip of fear, I painted myself facing a saber-toothed tiger and writing all over it thoughts to help me conquer my own fear. All of these shifts into becoming my authentic self was bringing me joy. Why do we involve ourselves in places that we're not totally aligned with our own truth? It is because there are 2 things we want more than anything in the world: love and respect. And we will do almost anything to get those, even if it means living someone else's truth, responding to what makes others comfortable and happy. We will sacrifice our own truth to the point of never rising or moving from our pain points, of never birthing life from pain. As I began to respond more and more to what was true for me, I started to call this my native truth. Native means the place where you were born. That place where you are an original indigenous inhabitant. That place that is home for you. Native truth is your wise, enchanted guide. Native truth is your essence. Native truth reveals inspiration, passion and purpose, and this is where joy and life are birthed from pain. Your native truth brings you home. This discovery of my native truth and joy was miraculous. I never thought I'd feel this way again. But one day I was walking beside the river, and I was overcome with grief and loss of Chloe that I just collapsed onto the riverbank. And I lay there and I cried. But I also became angry because I somehow thought that this kind of grief was history, that transformation hasn't happened. I'm back at square A. I'm destined to a life of pain. That was a sad day. But the next day I realized a powerful truth. In my moment of darkness on the banks of that river, I didn't go seeking some pretend love and light. I didn't numb out. I didn't try to find a social distraction. I allowed myself to enter the dark. I allowed myself to break. I allowed the experience that was true. I learned that even in dark, that is my native truth. And it is only by allowing it do we arrive at a deeper life joy. Light is truth and dark is truth, and together they birth life from pain. It is a given that we will all experience pain. It is the human experience. And I am so sorry because I feel it. It is not a given that we will birth life from our pain points. That is up to us. But I have hope because I have birthed life and joy and magic from a very deep pain point. In order to birth this deep, enchanting life, you must allow any experience that is true and authentic for you. Turn down the voices that attempt to guide you away from yourself. Suspend the word should. Know what truly inspires you. Take some time to discover your own native truth. Come home to yourself and birth life and joy and magic from your pain. Thank you.